Hey there! So good morning or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're from. Well, here it's morning, so it's like literally 9 o'clock in the morning right now, and I've woken up, just gone dressed up, ready to go leave, so I can head to France to play for Springfest France. And of course, it happened again where they've revealed some cards for clans I play right before I'm about to go. So this is the second time. They did this with the OTT Stride as well and the G Guard. But this time, I've just about squeezed enough time, barely, to do this live recording quickly before I head out. So this is actually a proper live reaction. I haven't read the cards at all yet, but I do know that the reprints are Seo Yggdrasil, Norn, and we've also got Artemis, the Grade 2. So they're still providing that. I think that's quite a popular card in V Premium. Seo and Norn, well, that's now another reason for me not to be picking up Divine Light and Radiance. If anyone's been following me on Twitter, I basically said I'm waiting to see if they reprint Regalia cards, just so that I can then have a better idea if it's worth getting Divine Light and Radiance, and it's less reason because a lot of stuff has been reprinted in that set now. I mainly want to get it for the SPs because I'm missing Gold Paladin SPs. I need a lot of Gold Paladin SPs. So there's that. I'm not sure if I'll be getting Divine Lightning Radiance now for that reason. The other reprint we've got is the Grade 3 heals. So there's that as well. And now let's get on with the actual reveals. So we've got Beloved Regalia Frigg. So this is very interesting art because it's drawn, I'm pretty sure without reading the artist, it's definitely drawn by the same person who draws Angelica. The art style is so similar. So it's a very new Regalia Grade 3 that we've never seen before. I never actually expected Minerva to come back, I'll be honest with you. But to be honest, I didn't expect Regalia either this wave, because I was actually thinking there's a high chance we get Witches. I thought maybe Snake Witch Mint or Chicory would be in this set, but not this time. So I'm not sure if this is maybe just them trying to cater towards the V Premium style. But now V has 3 Grade 3s for Regalia now. So let's just see how this contributes to the play style. So the first skill is all of your rearguards with Divine Gauge cannot leave the rearguard by your opponent's card effects. And get power 5. Wow, that's interesting. Does that mean it can counter Veratrum as well? Things that target circles? Cannot leave the rearguards by your opponent's card effects. Oh, but they can still be locked, can't they? So it's vulnerable to locking, but now you've got a different sort of wording on how to counter different decks. And they gain 5k, which is pretty good. And it's just like Angelica's continuous. Yeah, so if you stride over with Marduk, it still stays the same level of power. The other skill, it's quite a wordy skill. Oh no, there's 2 skills there. Okay, so it's once per turn, cost Counterblast 1, it's a main phase skill. Look at 5 on top of your deck. Whoa, okay, this already sounds this already sounds really good. Because I've been looking to see if they'll make a Regalia such one these days. Look at 5 on top of your deck. And by the way, you can use this with Marduk. So choose up to 1 card from among them, call it to rearguard circle. Wow. And shuffle your deck. Okay, that's actually really handy. Think about it, like the amount of times you play Regalia and just think, wait, where the hell are my Seo Yggdrasils? And by the way, I think this now kind of makes Thread potentially better, definitely for sure in Premium. Obviously it's good in V Premium, but in Premium, I think this might encourage me to play Thread because I've been fence-sitting that card. As you may have seen in my lists I've been going to Springfest with, I've not been playing Thread at all. I've sort of just barely not been able to convince myself, like there's too many Grade 2s to choose from. Thread is a consideration I currently have, but it didn't quite take that slot because I'm very worried about certain matchups, especially Mega Colony being in the round. Like Mega Colony is a big reason why I don't want to play Thread at the moment. So let's see, quote to rearguard and shuffle your deck. So you shuffle, there's no stacking that you can do. If you called a unit with Regalia's name, oh, you can choose any card and call it. Okay, so if you get Regalia, then there's a bonus. Choose up to 2 of your rearguards and put a card from your soul face out as the Divine Gauge. Oh, wow. Okay, so you don't actually need Thread then to still get the gauge. So you're getting some free gauges. Now, the last skill, I'm wondering if it has a skill that can pay Divine Gauges like Angelica. Let's see. At the beginning of your turn, beginning of your turn, so you have to wait until your next turn. If your opponent's damage zone has 4 or less cards, discard 5 gauges, choose one of your opponent's vanguards and deal 1 damage. So it's basically opposite to Angelica. It's a damage burner. That is funny, but... Oh, wow. That's actually... No, that's not just fine. That's actually pretty dangerous. I think... So, Angelica gives the power. This card also gives power, so they do the same thing there. The protection is little minor differences. Obviously more vulnerable to Link Joker. But what else does Angelica do? On attack, put 2 gauges out. So Angelica can kind of farm gauges, but so can this card. But this card does it for CP1. Angelica's free. But then that last skill I think is going to be more popular in Premium Regalia. I think the dealing of damage is way more often going to be useful. It's very easy not to get your opponent to the high damage threshold, but then when you go into your first round Minerva, it's going to be a lot of pressure if they've already taken the damage without being able to guard against it. Because what they want to do is try to be as economic as possible. Just give them more counterplay. So they have actually power crept Regalia, I think, with this card. Regalia did not need to get stronger. Can we just not do this? This is just too much. Like, help the rest of Genesis. You just ban like the most important premium card that helped the other stuff. But anyway, let's go to the grade 2. The grade 2 is when this unit is placed on Vanguard circle. Oh wow, an on ride. Okay, we've been missing this because the only one we had is Norn. Between any of the subclan stuff. Before you'd have to play like non-Regalia cards like Gleipnir, for example, which obviously, because Thrud is a rearguard only card and it doesn't really have that kind of searchability, I've not really been as convinced with Thrud. I've always thought if Thrud had like a superior core or check top amount of cards and add to hand, it would be pretty good as a ride target to have in Regalia so that Gleipnir doesn't take the slot. So let's just see if it does what I'm hoping it does. When it's placed on Vanguard, Cam 1, look at 5 to your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, and call it to rearguard circle and shuffle your deck. Okay, so it does the same thing as the grade 3, which is really good. And it's early games, you're actually able to set up cards like VAR as well, which is nuts. But you can call any card, so you can technically mix this in other decks if you want to. And if you called a unit with Regalia name though, you get a bonus, so choose up to 1 of your rearguards and put 1 gauge. So it's basically just a mini version of the grade 3. And it's auto on place. Then the other skill, so it's got 2 skills this time, unlike the last one, which had only 1 skill and only rearguard. This is the rearguard skill. So when this unit is placed on rearguard, so that it's not just a useless card after turn 2, like Phosphorus or Suspicious Light, which only works in Vanguard, or Mutsuki, Battle-Made Mutsuki, which by the way are really good cards, but they obviously have very strong Vanguard skills, but just don't have rearguard usage. Of course, you can discard them if you wanted to. But going back on topic. When this unit is placed on raid, choose up to 2 cards regarding the card names you will drop and put them into your soul. Oh my god! So this is literally the card. So the funny thing is, I've been debating. One of the debates I've had recently is Thrud versus Hemera, and yeah. By the way, I haven't actually confirmed my final list yet for tomorrow, but there has been constant like debates I've been having with myself and friends about what cards to change out. One of the topics that's come up as I've been going through my list is Hemera versus Thrud. So I like Thrud because it's 10k base. I used to like 9k bases more back in the day. But sorry about that. That's my phone buzzing, and I'm not going to re-record this video over this phone buzzing. But so as I was saying, there is basically Thrud, which has 10k base, and then there's Hemera with a 9k base. The thing is, the 10k base is useful, especially against decks like Nightmare Doll or Grand Blue in the early game. So it's good to ride at 10k. And the other thing is that Hemera is Soul Charge 3, which is really good and why people like it. It's not GB restricted like Bragi, for example. It's not Cam Blast restricted like Freya. So Hemera is quite a popular card right now that's being, it's being sold for a high amount apparently, which kind of makes sense because if you go back to Legion era, the set is terrible. Like it was never a good set to be with. There was like Seer Yggdrasil, which was the most popular card, but no one's going to play that anymore. There is Hemera, which I'd say might be the second best card of the set. Was always undervalued on release because the card was actually kind of scarce to begin with. It was never an easy card to get hold of anyway. And then the rest of the set was just there really, low rarity stuff. But otherwise you had Snake Witches, but Snake Witches I don't think was that big. Like you compare that to the Revenger set, they had 3 triple rares, and you only get 1 box of these triple rares in each extra booster. So they have 3 triple rares which are all sorted. Shadow Witches was popular, and then you had like Revenge, which was massively popular. And in Genesis they had Brunhilde as one of their pulls. So that obviously ruined people's I guess bottom line when they're buying the product. I bought boxes and it wasn't that great for me, but I had Legion PR campaigns which helped me make up my money, so that's kind of why I think Hemera is an expensive card right now. It's not. It doesn't come from an attractor set. If you think about Luquia or Amon from the original series, they're kind of expensive for the same reason. Palpatry pieces, other stuff. if the rest of the set doesn't really hold up anymore, then it's more likely the old stuff drives up more price because no one wants to buy the product. Otherwise, there's no incentive for people to invest. So this card, because it's basically got the advantage I'm looking for in Thread and the advantage I'm looking for in Hemera, this card is definitely going to be played. It's very, very good. So this is very much a power creep card, and now Regalia have a grade 2 game as well. So, oh, and also another thing, you can Spirit Call any grade, so you can actually Spirit Call Sea or Yggdrasil, and from the early game, you're getting boost and rushing. So now Regalia has early game rush. That's insane. So I think Regalia is a potential toxic tier 0 deck after this reveal. I don't know. The game's going to change a lot by then, I think. But we do have the new G-Guard, which isn't helping either. So Regalia is definitely going to be disgusting. I mean, the deck isn't exactly as omnipotent people are saying it is right now. There's a lot of strong decks at the moment in the current environment, but Regalia is the one that looks like it's getting more and more good support from this one wave, which I don't think I'm really the biggest fan of, because I'd like to see other stuff. And I'm saying this as someone who prefers Regalia as their thing, because I've got more of attachment to those cards. The others are sort of just more like extra fun decks. I like to sort of just hop around between different Genesis decks. So anyway, this last card, when this unit is rode upon, you may call this to Rearguard Circle. So this is the new Ordained Owl. They've retrained Minerva's Owl, but it's I think it's Minerva's Owl. I don't even know. I mean, he's got a Scouter. The Scouter saying the power level is over 9,000, but it's a +1 for free, which is nuts. And to be fair, you don't really want this card in your Soul anyway that much, so because it's not Regalia. So that's kind of part of the thing. Your starter can be the one that you can use for Quick Gauge, I guess. The next skill is Rearguard Auto. At the end of battle, that this unit boosted. Oh wow, so you're calling this out and then you're still getting the Rearguard skill. If you boost a Regalia in its card name, cost per unit to your soul and draw a card. Wow. So it's a draw engine. So yeah, they've made Regalia nuts. Absolutely nuts. So I think that's pretty much it for the reveals. Insane, I would say. I'm not sure what I'll take out for this card. I mean, maybe I could take out the Strategist now, because the Strategist hasn't got as much importance, because now we've got more searchers, which we wouldn't have before. So I think Flap Angel might potentially be getting cut now for this card. And then this would obviously replace, well, you could replace any for grade 2s besides Norn basically with this card, like literally, but I don't think Gleipnir is going to be that popular anymore compared to before. Viratra might also be getting cut because the G-Guard exists. Obviously though, there's a card called Connell, which you need to look out for if you're playing Regalia. Then we have Frigg, which I think will definitely be a strong contender. If anyone gets SPs of this, I will be looking to buy, so hit me up if you do pull any SPs. And other than that, that's pretty much it. Yeah, very nice reveals, I guess, but now I think it's going to be the point where I start looking at some of my old cards and thinking, oh, I guess I won't be using this anymore in Regalia, like some of these Regalia specific cards. Even though, to be fair, it does feel like it now fixes like some of the gaps, but I don't know, it feels like it feels a bit too much. Like, I just don't think we need stuff that is this good at the moment, because I want to see like more diversity in Genesis as a clan. So I'd rather see like other stuff get stuff. Like Regalia is just way too good. That's kind of an issue I feel like compared to the other Genesis decks. But otherwise, I've got a rush now, so let me know down below what you think, what interactions you've thought up of. I'm reacting to this like literally on the spot, so I didn't actually read these before the video. I need to go and pack up and leave within over the next hour. So in the next hour I'll be out the house and headed over. So I'm just gonna get uploaded up now. So I'll see you guys later. If you're going to be in France BSF, I'll see you there, and good day.